MTJ clothing brand. Dear viewers, the recent news of the entry into business of the renowned Muslim scholar from Pakistan, Maulana Tariq Jameel, has taken the world by a big storm, especially the people where the Islamic scholar is known for his effective, moving, and emotional Islamic sermons. Maulana Saab has announced the start of a business by the name MTJ brand. It's a brand name starting from the clothing sector. Those critical of his business initiative think that Maulana Saab is using the goodwill that he has generated with his Islamic sermons, and that goodwill is being used by him for business ventures. Generally, ulama, Islamic scholars from the subcontinents are considered to be doing things inappropriate if they are getting into businesses and diverting from their Islamic teaching professions. The storm is so heavy and misleading that Maulana Tariq Jameel and his supporters had to resort to media and social media with their own viewpoint on the subject matter. Maulana Saab was also invited to his program by Mr. Kamran Khan, a renowned TV anchor in Pakistan, to speak on the subject matter. Maulana Saab didn't stop there. Rather, he also released a brief video on his YouTube channel giving details of the business venture and its purported goals. In one of his social media videos, Maulana Saab said that it was in 2000 that he thought of starting a religious educational institution or a religious seminary where lessons are taught in Arabic, and he did start the project in Faisalabad, which is doing quite well. The project, Maulana said, with the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, became a success, but only with the cooperation and support of friends, especially those from business community. The success of the project could be seen, he said, in the fast expansion of the religious seminary with 10 new branches. In the video, Maulana Saab has informed his followers and critics, both together, that it was almost 2 years back when Corona-19 pandemic started. The pandemic affected the businesses. Businesses slowed and the contribution to the seminaries dwindled. This situation forced Maulana Saab to close the seminary and its branches, and they had to resort to online teaching. Since the businesses were in bad situation, were passing through difficult times, it was not possible for Maulana Saab to request any of his friends for support. Their own businesses were passing through difficult times and were in need of support. Therefore, any request for financial support from the businesses was out of question. But on the other hand, the dilemma Maulana Saab was facing was the absence of any formal structure of obtaining charities and contribution for running his religious seminaries. Maulana Saab has said that it was in the past only he who would use his good offices and would make personal requests to his friends for contribution and donation. But this time, he said earlier, the requests were out of question. He praised all those who supported him in the past. However, the tightening of finances was a big question and a big problem for Maulana and his seminaries. Requests were out of question, but then the big question was how the system would run, Maulana thought. Would they close the seminaries altogether? He said that he had been thinking and making special du'as to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for some help, that the seminaries, especially the one run under his administration, could stand on their own feet and not to depend on the zakat of others. He thought that It would be better if the seminaries could have their own resources and own sources of revenue generation. But there was nothing which could be made a source for the seminaries. However, when the corona pandemic started and the budget tightened, it occurred to him that they should get into some business ventures from where the profit could be used for the welfare of these seminaries and their students and teachers. The idea of Maulana was shared with some of his friends, and with their consensus and their suggestions and their encouragement, they thought of starting a business with the brand name of MTJ. Maulana says that he must mention especially the name of Suhail Motan Saab, who has been and had been very active in supporting this initiative. It was Suhail Motan who came to Maulana Saab's house, and it was there that they signed the contract. He said that he didn't start the business to earn money, as he never did anything like this throughout his life. He said that he was blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with sufficient earning from his lands and farms. And it was only in 1984 that he first time supervised the cultivation of a farm. And since then he has been associated with preaching and tabligh, and whatever he gets from his farms is sufficient for him and for his family. And at this point of time, he couldn't think of earning money for himself or his family to the Maulana Sahib in the video further said that the start of the business doesn't mean more money for his family or for himself, but for so many projects to be funded. He said that the plans of his team are much better and much bigger. They wanted to expand the business in future. He said that they were also looking for opening schools with the money so earned. And they were also looking for opening a hospital, if Allah will so in the future. He said that the project of the school has already been started, rather it's near completion, and millions of rupees have been spent on the building construction. He said that it would be a model school building, a model school of the area, not for the rich, not for the wealthy, but for those who would need it. Maulana Sahib did agree that it was not considered good and appropriate in the subcontinent among the Muslims for ulamas and Islamic scholars to get into business ventures. Despite the fact that Imam Abu Hanifa, whom most of the Muslims of the subcontinent follow, was a famous trader of clothes of his time. Maulana Sahib said that he was neither aware of the reasons of this myth nor of the time when it crept into the belief system of the Muslim of the subcontinent that ulamas should not get into business ventures. He said that people consider a Maulvi as someone who would beg and would run his institutional affairs with begging, which he said should not be the case. He said that he never intended to start a business as a businessman, nor he is in competition with anyone. Maulana Sahib requested everyone to pray for the success of his business venture so that the initiative succeeds and the charity work continue to flourish even if he's no longer around us. Dear viewers, I must say that there were famous traders, merchants among the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him. The Prophet Muhammad himself took part in business activities and traveled with his uncle to the far-flung areas of Syria. We need more good businesses and more good business ventures, especially if the profits and the proceeds of that business are to be used for some good causes. Thus our support would become a sadaqah jariyah for us, support for such businesses, support for such business ventures. And on the Day of Judgment, we would be surprised with the reward that we would get.